Jinwoo's mother collapsed in his office, her last words echoing in the silence. Those are Hansung eyes. I stood there, my children pressed against my sides, watching paramedics rush in, watching Jinwoo kneel beside his mother, his face twisted with emotions I couldn't read, watching everything spiral out of control. Again. "Ma'am, we need to take her to the hospital," one of the paramedics said. Jinwoo looked up at me, and for the first time in 4 years, I saw him completely unguarded. "Raw, come with us, please. Welcome to Afro K Love Story channel. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button right now because we bring you the most intense, emotional stories where African and Korean worlds collide. This is episode 2, the final episode of this story. If you missed episode 1, check the link in the description because trust me, you need that backstory. This episode is going to answer every question. What really happened that night? Why did Jinwoo's mother recognize the children instantly? And what price will the truth demand from everyone involved? Drop a like. Tell me where you're watching from. And let's finish this story together. Seoul Memorial Hospital smelled like antiseptic and secrets. I sat in the private waiting room with Mia, sleeping against my shoulder, and Elijah curled in the chair beside me. Jinwoo paced like a caged animal, his phone pressed to his ear. "Yes, father. She's stable." "No. I don't know what caused it. There are complications. I'll explain later." He hung up and finally stopped moving. Looked at me properly. "My mother has a heart condition. Stress triggers episodes. The doctor says she'll be fine. But, seeing my children almost killed her." I finished. "I didn't come here to hurt anyone, Jinwoo." "Then why did you come?" "Really?" I adjusted Mia's weight against me. "Because Mia is sick." His face changed. "What?" "She has acute lymphoblastic leukemia. She needs a bone marrow transplant. I've been tested. I'm not a match. My family's been tested. No matches. The registry has nothing." My voice cracked. "The doctors said her best chance is a biological relative. A parent. A sibling." Jinwoo's hand went to his mouth. "Oh God. So yes. I came back. Not for money, revenge, nor to ruin your life. I came back because my daughter is dying, and you're her only hope, whether you believe she's yours or not. The DNA test. I had one done privately last year when she got diagnosed. The results are in my bag. She's yours, Jinwoo. They both are. And I need you to get tested as a potential donor." He sat down heavily. "If I'm tested, my family will know. The company will know. Everything will. I don't care about your company." My voice rose, waking Mia slightly. I lowered it. "I don't care about your reputation, or your family's name, or any of it. I care about my daughter's life. So you decide right now what matters more." Before he could answer, the door opened. A doctor appeared, followed by Jinwoo's mother in a wheelchair. She was pale but alert, her eyes immediately finding my children. "Leave us," she said in English, addressing Jinwoo. "I need to speak with this woman alone. Amma, you should rest. Now, Jinwoo." He left, throwing me one last uncertain look. "Mrs." Park wheeled herself closer, her eyes never leaving Mia's sleeping face. "May I?" she asked, gesturing. I nodded, too tired to be defensive. She reached out and touched Mia's cheek with trembling fingers. My husband had eyes exactly this color. A rare genetic trait in our family. It skips generations sometimes. But when it appears, she looked up at me. "There's no mistaking it. So you believe me?" "I know. My son's face. I see it twice in these children." She pulled back. "But what I don't understand is how it's possible. Jinwoo came to me 6 years ago. devastated. He'd been diagnosed with severe oligospermia. Multiple doctors confirmed it. The chances of natural conception were listed as less than 1%. My heart started pounding. He told me he was completely unable to have children. He wasn't lying. The doctors said it was functionally impossible without intervention. We had his sperm frozen, just in case. We'd planned for IVF with his future wife. Her expression hardened. And then you appeared in his office, claiming pregnancy. You understand why he didn't believe you? But I was telling the truth. I believe you now. But then? We thought you were another woman trying to trap a wealthy man. It happens more than you'd think. I felt tears building. I lost my job, my reputation. I had to start over completely. Pregnant and alone in a foreign country. And he thought I was just a con artist. Tell me about that night. Everything you remember. So, I did. The drinking. Jin Woo's confession. The gaps in my memory. Waking up confused and getting dismissed coldly. Mrs. Park's face grew darker with each detail. And you never got answers about what actually happened during those missing hours? No. Jin Woo refused to discuss it. I assumed. I don't know what I assumed. That we'd crossed a line we both regretted. She pulled out her phone, made a call in rapid Korean, then looked at me. I'm calling our head of security. Something about this has never sat right with me. When Jin Woo told me about that night, his version was almost identical to yours. Too much drinking, gaps in memory, waking up confused. For two people who barely drank together to both have blackouts? She shook her head. I should have investigated then. What are you saying? I'm saying someone may have drugged you both. An hour later, we were in a private conference room. Me, Jin Woo, his mother, and the head of security, Mr. Kim. The footage from that night was archived, Mr. Kim said, setting up a laptop. Nothing was deleted, but no one requested it either. Jin Woo sat rigid beside me. Archive. Show us. The video started at 9 p.m. Jin Woo and I worked at our usual pace, professional and focused. At 10:15, someone entered the office. I leaned forward. Who is that? That's Yoon Hae Jin. Mrs. Park said, her voice tight. Jin Woo's ex-fiancé. On screen, Hae Jin approached Jin Woo with what looked like files. They talked briefly. She set down a bottle of wine, a gift, apparently. Jin Woo accepted politely, but didn't open it immediately. Hae Jin left. At 10:45, Jin Woo opened the wine, poured himself a glass. Then another. By 11 p.m., he was visibly drunk, which made no sense. I'd never seen him get drunk that fast. That's when I entered the frame. I watched myself try to help him. Look concerned. And then Jin Woo poured me a glass. Insisted I drink with him. I did. Within 20 minutes, we were both stumbling. Both clearly impaired beyond what that amount of alcohol should have caused. Oh God, Jin Woo whispered beside me. On screen, we moved to the couch. And then, stop, Mrs. Park commanded. We've seen enough. Skip forward. Mr. Kim jumped to 6 a.m. The office was empty. No record of anyone entering or leaving. Check the building's exterior cameras, Jin Woo said, his voice shaking. Around 2 a.m. Mr. Kim pulled up different footage. And there it was. Hae Jin entering the building with a keycard at 1:47 a.m. She went straight to the executive floor. The timestamp showed she stayed for 43 minutes. What was she doing? I asked, though my stomach already knew the answer. Jin Woo stood up abruptly, walked to the window. She drugged us. Both of us. And then she tried to make it look like you'd slept together. Mrs. Park finished. But why? What did she gain? My frozen sample, Jin-woo said hollowly. From the fertility clinic. Hae-jin had access to my medical records through the family agreement. She knew I had viable sperm stored. She could have used it for artificial insemination while Maya was unconscious. The room spun. You're saying she artificially inseminated me? While I was drugged? Jin-woo turned, his face gray. I'm saying she tried to. She wanted to get pregnant with my child and claim it happened naturally that night. She'd have proof we were alone together. Proof we drank together. If she'd succeeded, she could have trapped me into marriage. But I was there instead, I whispered, and I actually got pregnant. How? Jin-woo demanded. That's still impossible. Mr. Kim cleared his throat. Sir, there's another possibility. The drug found in that wine bottle, I had it tested years later for an unrelated case. It was a compound that included fertility enhancers. Some men report temporary sperm count increases under certain medications. You're saying the drug that was supposed to knock us out also temporarily fixed his fertility? I couldn't believe this. It's rare, but documented. Combined with the fact that Miss Thompson was likely ovulating. Given the timing, Mr. Kim shrugged. Lightning strike odds, but not impossible. Jin-woo sat down heavily. So, Hae-jin drugged us to artificially inseminate Maya with my sample. But the drugs themselves created conditions for natural conception instead. And when I turned up pregnant, she disappeared. I added. Did she know it didn't work? She must have, Mrs. Park said. She would have tested herself. When it came back negative and yours came back positive, she ran. She couldn't claim the children without admitting what she'd done. Silence fell over the room. 4 years. 4 years of thinking I was crazy. 4 years of Jin-woo thinking I'd lied. 4 years of my children growing up without their father because of one woman's twisted scheme. Where is she now? Jin-woo's voice was ice. Pure ice. I'll find out, Mr. Kim said. Sir, with this evidence, we can press charges. Drugging, assault, attempted fraud. Do it. All of it. Jin-woo looked at me. Maya. I held up my hand. Don't. Not yet. My daughter needs a bone marrow transplant. That's the only thing that matters right now. We'll deal with everything else after. Jin-woo got tested the next day. I sat with Mia in her hospital room while we waited for results. She was getting weaker. The doctors said we had maybe 3 months before the leukemia progressed too far. 3 months to find a match. 3 months to save her life. Mommy, is that man really my daddy? Mia asked softly. I smoothed her hair back. Yes, baby, he is. Why didn't he come see us before? How do you explain adult mistakes to a 4-year-old? Because he didn't know about you, but he knows now. And he's trying to help. Is Elijah's daddy too? Yes. She considered this. Will he stay? Or will he leave like other daddies leave? My heart broke. I don't know, sweet girl. But even if he can't stay, he's helping you get better. That's what matters. The door opened. Jin-woo entered, followed by a doctor. Miss Thompson, Mr. Park, we have the test results. I stood up. My heart hammering. Mr. Park is a perfect match for his daughter. We can schedule the transplant immediately. I couldn't breathe, couldn't process. Just heard perfect match and felt my knees give out. Jin-woo caught me. She's going to be okay. Maya. She's going to be okay. I sobbed into his shoulder. She's going to be okay. I sobbed into his shoulder. She's going to be okay. 4 years of fear, of fighting alone, of watching my daughter get sicker. It all came pouring out. Thank you. I choked out. Thank you. The transplant was scheduled for 2 weeks out. Mia needed to be stabilized first. In the meantime, Mr. Kim found Hae-jin. She'd been living in New York under her mother's maiden name. When she heard Jin-woo was looking for her, she flew back to Seoul immediately. I don't know what she thought would happen. Maybe she thought she could explain. Maybe she thought enough time had passed that it didn't matter. She was wrong. We met in Jin-woo's office, me, Jin-woo, his parents, the lawyers, and Hae-jin. She walked in wearing designer clothes and fake confidence. That confidence crumbled when she saw me. Maya. My name came out as a whisper. I heard about your daughter. I'm so sorry. Don't. Jin-woo's voice cut like a blade. Don't you dare pretend to care about the child you tried to steal. Hae-jin's mask slipped. I don't know what lies she's told you. We have security footage, Mrs. Park said calmly. We have the drugged wine bottle with your fingerprints. We have medical records showing your access to Jin-woo's frozen samples. We have everything, Hae-jin. So please, stop lying. Hae-jin sank into a chair. It wasn't supposed to happen like this. How was it supposed to happen? I demanded. You drug me, assault me, and steal my eggs? I was trying to save him. Hae-jin's voice rose. His family needed an heir. He couldn't provide one naturally. I had access to his sperm sample. I was going to use it on myself, make everyone believe we'd conceived naturally that night, and save the Hansong legacy. By drugging us both? Jin-woo looked disgusted. By violating Maya? I didn't know she'd actually get pregnant. The odds were impossible. Hae-jin turned to me, desperate. When you came to him claiming pregnancy, I thought you were lying. I thought you'd gotten pregnant by someone else and were trying to trap Jin-woo. I didn't realize until months later that the drugs I used could have temporarily increased his fertility. And when you realized? I asked quietly. I panicked. I couldn't come forward without admitting what I'd done. So I disappeared. You destroyed my life, I said. You destroyed my career, my reputation. You let Jin-woo believe I was a liar for 4 years. You let my children grow up without their father. And you did all of this for what? A legacy that wasn't even yours? Hae-jin had no answer. Jin-woo leaned forward. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to confess everything to the police. You're going to plead guilty to every charge we file. And then, you're going to pray that the judge has more mercy than I do. Jin-woo, please. We're done here. He gestured to security. Get her out. As they escorted Hae-jin out, she looked back at me. I really am sorry about your daughter. Save it, I said. You had 4 years to be sorry. You chose silence. 2 weeks later, Mia went into surgery. I sat in the waiting room with Elijah in my lap, Jin-woo beside me. His parents were there too, along with what felt like half the hospital staff. She's strong, Jin-woo said quietly. Like her mother. She has your stubbornness, I replied. Refuses to give up on anything. Maya, I need to say this before. Jin-woo, please. Let me. He turned to face me. I was wrong. About everything. I should have trusted you. Should have investigated. Should have fought for you instead of pushing you away. I let my shame and fear turn me into someone cruel, and you paid the price. Our children paid the price. Tears slipped down my cheeks. We both made mistakes. No, I made mistakes. You were a victim of someone else's crime. And I made it worse. He took my hand. I can't undo the past 4 years. Can't give back what was stolen. But if you'll let me, if you'll give me a chance, I want to be their father. Not just genetically, but in every way that matters. They need stability. Jin-woo. Not someone who'll disappear when things get hard. I'm not going anywhere. I promise you that. Before I could respond, a doctor emerged. The transplant was successful. Mia's in recovery. She'll need monitoring, but the prognosis is excellent. I collapsed against Jinwoo, sobbing with relief. He held me tight. And for the first time in 4 years, I let myself believe things might actually be okay. 6 months later, Mia's hair grew back in thick and curly, just like mine. She and Elijah split their time between my apartment and Jinwoo's house. We weren't together. Not romantically. Too much had happened. Too much hurt to just forget. But we were figuring out how to be parents. Together. Jinwoo stepped down temporarily, as CEO, to focus on the children. His father took over, surprisingly supportive once he met his grandchildren. Mrs. Park spoiled them rotten, teaching them Korean and telling them stories about their heritage. Haejin was sentenced to 5 years in prison. The scandal rocked Seoul's elite circles, but Jinwoo handled it with more grace than I expected. He gave one interview explaining the situation, protecting my privacy, and then refused to discuss it further. She's free, he told me one afternoon, watching Mia and Elijah play in the park. Medically, I mean, cancer-free for 6 months. Thanks to you. Thanks to us. You kept her alive long enough to find me. I bumped his shoulder. You're not so bad, Park Jinwoo, when you're not being stubborn and impossible. I learned from the best, he teased back. Then, more seriously. Maya, I know I said I wouldn't push, but I need for you to know I'm falling in love with you. Or maybe I fell years ago and was too stupid to recognize it. Either way, when you're ready, if you're ever ready, I'd like to try. Really try. I looked at him, saw the man who'd hurt me. Yes, but also the man who'd donated bone marrow without hesitation, who'd learned to braid Mia's hair and helped Elijah with puzzles, who'd fought to be better. Then we'll see about the rest. He smiled. I can wait. And somehow, I believed him. 1 year later. Mommy, Daddy, watch this. Mia did a cartwheel across the grass, her laughter ringing out. Elijah clapped, then tried his own cartwheel, and ended up in a giggling heap. Jinwoo and I sat on a blanket, watching our children play. His hand found mine, fingers intertwining naturally. It's been a year, he said quietly. I know. So? I turned to face him, saw the hope in his eyes, the fear, the love, saw the man, who'd shown up every single day for 12 months, proving he meant what he said. So ask me, Maya Thompson, would you give me the honor, the privilege, of dating you? Properly this time? With dinner and flowers and absolutely no workplace power dynamics? I laughed. Yes, Jinwoo. Yes. He kissed me softly, carefully, like I was something precious. Ew! They're kissing, Elijah yelled. It's romantic, Mia countered. Like in movies. We broke apart, laughing. Our children ran over, piling onto our laps in a tangle of arms and legs and joy. This wasn't how I thought my story would go. 4 years ago, standing in that office building with my heart in pieces, I never imagined this ending. But life has a way of surprising you, of taking the worst betrayal and somehow, impossibly, turning it into something beautiful. I love you, Jinwoo whispered against my hair. All 3 of you. We love you too, I whispered back. And I meant it. Sometimes the darkest night leads to the brightest dawn. Sometimes the truth that destroys you is the same truth that sets you free. And sometimes, just sometimes, the man who breaks your heart is the same man who learns to put it back together. This was Maya and Jinwoo's story, a story of betrayal and redemption, of children who became the bridge between broken hearts, of second chances earned through action, not just words. If you made it to the end, Thank you for taking this journey with us. Drop a comment telling me what you thought. Would you have forgiven Jinwoo? Could you have trusted him again? Remember to subscribe to Afro K Love Story for more incredible stories where African and Korean worlds collide. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload. And if you haven't watched episode 1 yet, check the link in the description. Trust me, it's worth it. Until next time, remember, love isn't about perfect beginnings. It's about refusing to give up on imperfect endings. See you in the next story.